The North American Escort was known as Ford's World Car when it first introduced in 1980 for the 1981 model year. Significantly different from its European counterpart, the Escort served as a direct replacement for the Ford Pinto, compact, and ran for 3 generations, utilizing platform sharing and component sharing across several Ford-owned brands worldwide. In 1996, for the 1997 model year, the Escort entered its third and final generation. The ZX2 was intended to replace the Ford Probe, despite its smaller size and lack of a V6 option and rear disc brakes. While the last Escort rolled off the assembly line in June of 2002, the last ZX2 rolled off its assembly line in March of 2003. The Escort would be replaced by the Ford Focus. Our review subject was built in the Hermosillo stamping plant in Mexico in October of 2002.
Hey everyone, in today's in-depth review, we are traveling way back in time to 2003, and we are taking an in-depth walk-around look at this 2003 Ford Escort ZX2. The Escort ZX2 was only available in two-door form. It was supposed to be the replacement of the Ford Probe, although that was a bit unfair as this car is only available with the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine and no V6 availability. The Ford Escort ZX2 came in 3 trims. You had the base standard, you also had deluxe and premium, and all 3 of those trim levels came at their own standard equipment and optional equipment availability. Our car featured here today is a black clear coat painted standard. It does feature the dark graphite cloth interior. Its full pricing is shown on screen, and a detailed options list is in the description box below.
All ZX2s are front-wheel drive, with power coming from a naturally aspirated 2-liter ZTEC twin-cam 16-valve inline 4-cylinder engine. This engine is of aluminum block and head construction with variable valve timing, electronic sequential multi-port fuel injection, and a 10-to-1 compression ratio. In its current tune, the engine creates 130 horsepower at 5,750 RPM and 127 pound-feet of torque at 4,250 RPM. It is a naturally aspirated engine. The ZX2 can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 9.6 seconds, with 0 to 100 miles per hour coming in at 29 seconds. The quarter mile comes in at 17.2 seconds at 80 miles per hour, with its top speed estimated around 110 miles per hour. All Escort ZX2s were equipped with a 12.8 US gallon fuel capacity and consumed 4 gallons per 100 miles driven, with an estimated total driving range of around 320 miles. EPA fuel economy figures are 23 miles per gallon in the city, 28 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 25 miles per gallon. While a 5-speed G5M manual transmission was standard equipment, sadly our car is equipped with the more lethargic $815 optional 4-speed F4 EAT automatic transmission.
Alright, as we walk around the rear of the Escort, go into a little bit more detail here in a second. As you can see, very organic flowing shapes. It's a very aerodynamic car. Alrighty, around the rear of the Escort ZX2, as you can see, very familiar shape of Fords of this time frame. Very ovid, sharing a lot in similarities with the Taurus. Large black window surrounds, very ovid windows, huge ovid rear window, as you can see. and a small trunk lid spoiler, very similar to that in shape and style of the Taurus SHO. And you've also got these really neat looking tail lights. At least I like them. I like very organic flowing shape of them. And the backup lamps are actually integrated into the trunk lid itself. And the bumper is specific to the Escort ZX2, as you can see the ZX2 nomenclature. And as we walk along the profile of the ZX2, as you can see, it's actually a very small car. It is a compact car, as one would expect. I've always liked the Escorts. Its exterior dimensions are shown on screen. Always get excited every time I get to do an older car like this. Love being able to digitally preserve these vehicles.
Steering is hydraulically assisted rack and pinion with 3.1 turns lock to lock and a 31.5 foot turning radius. Wheels are the 15 by 5.5 inch 4 lug 5-spoke aluminum alloys shot in 185/60 R15 Kendra Kinetica Touring all-season tires. Eagle-eyed viewers will note that there are mismatched wheels, but all of them are Escort spec. Brakes are front disc rear drum setup and are not equipped with the optional ABS system. Up front we have 10.1 inch ventilated disc and in the rear 9 inch drums. These brakes will halt the Escort ZX2 from 70 miles per hour to 0 and 210 feet.
And as I'll state, 2003 was the last year of the ZX2, so Ford opted to change that front fascia from the rest of the Escort line to make it more distinctive. Walking around the front of the Escort ZX2, as you can see, it is a very sporty iteration of the Ford Escort. Very nice organic flowing shapes in the side view mirrors. Everything kind of flows really nicely down these fender lines here into the Taurus-esque headlamps, just a smaller scale of those. And since 2003 was the last year of this vehicle, Ford opted to change the front fascia for 1 year only, going from the grille-less look to the inset grille here with the honeycomb. And you do have the inset driving and turn indicators here. Down below you can opt for fog lamps. Alright, now as one would expect from the standard base car, we do not have power windows or power locks here. We do have power mirrors, so we only have one key, Ford's triangular headed twin blade key. And unlocking and locking is as simple as sticking the key in, towards the back locks it, and towards the front unlocks it. Flush mounted door handles here, and opening the door reveals that the interior of this car has actually held up very well over time. Dark charcoal cloth seats. And taking a look at the rather stark door panel, it does have this padded vinyl material here. It's actually all soft touch. You do have some of this velour style cloth here. Little grab handles here, your door pulls, manual window winders here. You could opt for power windows and power door locks, but this car does not have that. We've also got mat pocket and our door speakers. Quick look at the instrument panel really briefly. Here's your power mirror control here. And you also have your instrument panel brightness and dim. You got your fuse panel here, fuel shut-off switch. This car was available as a 5-speed manual as standard, but we have the opted 4-speed automatic. You got your hood release here, and your trunk release right there. Take a look at the steering wheel. It is just a neoprene 4-spoke design. There's no cruise control, and the steering wheel does not tilt. Alright, let's take a look at the seats. The seats are actually very comfortable. They're very supportive. They do have pretty aggressive bolstering for a car of this class. Other than that, they're pretty basic. There's no power adjust. You do have high adjustable head restraints. You have a contrasting cloth pattern insert here, but you have this really nice soft velour trim in here. seat back adjustments right here. And up front is your fore and aft adjust. Alrighty, panning through the interior, we're going to show all the details inside. There's quite a few to show here. As we stated before, this does have hydraulically assisted power steering. It is a basic 4-spoke all neoprene steering wheel. No controls at all. We do have multi-function stalks though, so we have our turn signals here. We have our high beams and our headlight control over here on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we have our wiper washer with intermittent wipers. We have our hazard indicator switch here on the front, and our mirror switch and one of the driver's side air vents canted in this binnacle here. And taking a straight look ahead inside this kind of oddly shaped instrument panel cutout, we have our instrument cluster. So we just have a fuel gauge, a very beepy and flashy seatbelt, coolant temperature, 120 mile/hour speedometer, and an 8,000 RPM tach with a 6,500 RPM red line. Take note, at the time of this recording, this vehicle is only recorded 43,439 miles. Alright, let's pan over the top of the dash. As one would expect, not a bunch of high quality materials, but it is soft touch plastic. It's not all hard plastic. It is here though. And as the instrument panel goes across the width of the car, as you can see, it's in really good shape. It has not faded, cracked, or split. We have another air vent here and a very oddly empty area right here. I'm not really sure what would go there if you could. And moving down the center stack here, we have Ford's infamous integrated control system. One whole panel encompasses your radio and your climate controls, so if anything goes out, the whole panel has to be replaced. Anyway, so we have a radio display and clock. We have a cassette player here. It's AM and FM and cassette only. Preset buttons, balance and fade. You have your bass and treble, seek scan, volume and power, and all that. This vehicle is equipped with the optional air conditioning system, and it actually still does blow cold. We also have a rear defroster. Moving the shift lever out of the way, we have a small storage tray here. You can opt for a 12-volt power point or your cigar lighter. And of course we have cup holders. And we do have the automatic transmission. Wish it was a manual. We do also have our handbrake. Nice actual cable actuated handbrake. Small storage and a cup holder for the rear seat passenger. Overall, I think the Escort's interior has actually held up very well over time. It is 20 years old. It still does look 20 years old, but it still looks relatively modern even to this day. We do have a nice spacious glove box. We have our owner's manual inside and more room to spare. 2 air vents for the passenger. Overhead, we have a manually dimming rearview mirror. There is no dome lights up here, no reading lights. We have basic cloth sun visors with fixed in place vanity mirrors. The sun visors do swing, but they do not slide. So as you can see, there's about another sun visor's width of uncovered space. The only light in this interior is the overhead dome light. We have non-adjustable seat belts. But overall, I still love the interior of this Escort. Very early 2000s Ford. Alright, so you want to hop inside the rear seat. Very simple to do, although it's not very simple. There is actually no tilt-away adjustment. You just basically lift up this and the seat flies forward. And we have access to our rear seats. Our rear seat is actually a 60-40 split folding seat. It is only designed to seat 2 passengers. Note the presence of only 2 seatbelt buckles. Not much in the form of amenities back here. We do have armrest. We do have a window that's fixed in place. We also have overhead coat hooks. Other than that, really not much of anything. The seats do have the same cloth coverings and treatments as the front seats. And if you want to fold the seats down, you can from the inside the car. Just pulling on this little tether here. There is the 40 section of the seat right there. You've also got your top tether and anchor for child seats. And here is your 60 version of the split folding seat here. Really nice that it can be done from inside the car, but it cannot be done from inside the trunk. Alright, there are but two ways to open the trunk. You can press the trunk release button here underneath the steering column, or you can take your key, stick it in the keyhole here, turn it to the right, and lift the trunk up. One thing you'll notice is that the trunk is actually very nice and wide opening. Another nice feature is that it actually does have these hinges on the outside of the trunk, so there's no dog leg hinge that can damage suitcases. And it also is held up by these hydraulic struts. It's something uncommon in a car of this class and price range, actually. There is no carpeting here, just a flat metal panel. Emergency trunk release. And here is the inside of the trunk. As you can see, for a car of this size, it's actually very nice and spacious. It's fully lined and fully carpeted. You'll also note that you do have your floor mats back here. And if you lift up this floor mat here and this little plywood section, you'll notice underneath we do have a compact spare tire. You also have jack and tools down here as well. And closing the trunk is as easy as closing the lid. Alrighty, and that does conclude our in-depth walk-around look at the 2003 Ford Escort ZX2. We hope you found the review informative, and if you did, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and our Instagram channel at BrensoJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.